I've only been recording for 11 minutes. Oh, this is gonna be a rough process, isn't it? Ugh. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I shouldn't be on screen. Maybe this is bad. Maybe this was a mistake. Okay. Well, it finally happened. After working my butt off making video after video and sticking to the grueling upload schedule of maybe once a year if I feel like it, I have finally achieved that thing that all YouTubers long for. A comma. A while back in one of my videos, I said that once I reached 1,000 subscribers, I would make a video talking about my top 20 favorite video games. And today, that day has finally arrived. Okay, technically that day arrived a couple months ago, but depression's a bitch. What do you want from me? I'm going to only briefly talk about each one, as I do plan on making videos for each of them eventually. But I want to make sure that the quality of my videos are reaching a point that are worthy of the games that I'm talking about. So I'm only going to briefly give my opinions on each one so I don't give everything away. Although I have already made videos about 2 of them, so fuck me, I guess. Also, at the end of this, I will be revealing what video I'm currently working on. Couldn't even remotely begin to tell you when it will come out, but I am working on it. All right, number 20. When making a list of your favorite video games, it's almost impossible to remove the nostalgia factor entirely. Which has absolutely nothing to do with this entry because it's awesome. Easily the best N64 game ever made. Yes, I'm looking at you. And definitely the best collectathon ever made. Yes, I'm still looking at you. I've encountered very few games with better level design than Banjo-Kazooie. Even Banjo-Tooie doesn't come close. The hub world of Grunty's Castle is equal amounts creepy, mysterious, and fun. Half the enjoyment of the game comes from opening up new areas of the castle to explore. And let's not forget the soundtrack that was composed by Grant motherfucking Kirkhope. Yes, that is his real legal name, do not look it up. As great as the N64 was, it was hardly the greatest console of all time. That honor belongs to the PS2. There were a lot of contenders for the best on this system, but there were 3 series that stood out as giants among the rest. One of those series was Sly Cooper, and in my personal opinion, the best of the series is... Fun fact, Ocean's 11 is one of my favorite movies of all time, and every time I watch that movie, I want to play Sly 3. And every time I play Sly 3, I want to watch Ocean's 11. Most Sly Cooper fans will say that 2 is the best one, and I understand where they're coming from. I really do. 2 is a very good game. Except in 3, you get to play as Guru, so I win the argument. It also made for a great conclusion to the series, with a wonderful and heartfelt but still bittersweet ending. You very rarely ever see that with such a tight trilogy that requires absolutely zero follow-up. Now, I said Sly Cooper was one of the giant 3 of the PS2 era, but I never said he was the best. No, that honor goes to... Sorry, Jack. Maybe next time. A game with this good of platforming and action should not also have this good of writing. Shit should be illegal. The protagonist duo go through a well-paced and believable character arc. The comedy and satire are on point, exploring themes of corporate greed, all while you play through some of the best third-person shooting and platforming available. And also, there's a gun that turns people into chickens. What else do you need? If you answered that question with a breathtaking sequence in which you skate down sand dunes at sunset, then you have very specific tastes, my friend. And may I also recommend... I remember I was playing this game in my parents' house in the living room, and my mom sat down and watched me play for a while, and she said, "So you're just a guy walking through some sand?" And I tried to explain to her why this was such a big deal, why it was such a good experience, but obviously it didn't work, and she didn't understand. And quite frankly, I don't really blame her because it's really more of an experience rather than something that can be put into words, you know? So, on to number 16, I guess. Okay, picture it. It's 2022. You are currently experiencing crippling vertigo from the moment you wake up to the moment you fall asleep. You have to drop out of the play that you've been really looking forward to being in, and you can't go into work for 2 weeks at a time. The only way you found to relieve the constant dizziness is to focus on something. So you have to pick a video game to sit down and play. You want one that's long so you don't have to get up and switch games. You want something that's not super fast-paced and actiony so you don't make yourself dizzy. And so you pick a JRPG because it's one of your favorite video game genres. So you pick... And wouldn't you know it, the game you pick has an amazingly written script, lovable characters, and a combat system so good it makes Final Fantasy X blush. You have such good taste. I've always said that about you. I'm pretty sure I would have loved this game even if it wasn't one of the few things keeping me sane during the worst time of my life. But it was, so it's required by law to be on this list somewhere. You ever have one of those games where even when you hadn't played it yet, just looking at it, you knew it was going to be one of your favorites. But then when you do eventually get around to playing it, not only is it as good as you expected it to be, but it's actually better? Unrelated, number 15 is... Automata is one of those games that's, again, difficult for me to describe to anyone who hasn't already played it, mostly because I don't want to spoil any of the experience for you. So Spark notes, good combat, moving story about the nature of free will, the ability to skate down sand dunes in your underwear. You will like this game. If you don't like those things, I don't know, you can go play badminton or something. Why are you here? Let's be real. I know why you're here.
Alright. Once we're done here, talk to one of these guys. They'll have something for you to do. It's our time now! Let's get this shit started!
Most of the subscribers on my channel are here because of my Saints Row 2 video. If you want to know my full opinions on it, go watch my video. And also enjoy me hilariously trying to justify why I prefer to play girls in video games. Good times. Speaking of both being trans and games I've already made videos for, so this bit will be short. I made that video with the express intent of coming out as trans on my channel, and I've always had the philosophy of go big or go home. Which is probably why I'm home so much. Do you know how exhausting it is to go big all the time? Sometimes you just gotta relax. And one of my primary ways of relaxing is to play my biggest comfort series, which is, of course, Pokemon. And probably the Pokemon game that I've played the most number of times is... If this list were based on the number of hours I've put into a single game, this would probably be number 1, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not even a Gen 1er, but obviously it has a very near, dear place to my heart because Gen 1 is the first gen I started with. The only real complaint I have about the game is that I can only get my favorite Pokemon via trade. Thus, anytime I want to use my favorite Pokemon, its nickname is Mark. Who the hell nicknames their Lickitung Mark? You nickname him Gumbo like God intended! Side note, my wife made this for me. She made it for me because there's like no Lickitung merch, so she made me a stuffy for myself. And she has looked at it and said that she could easily make a better one and wants to redo him. And I say, how dare you? This is our literal child. Speaking of tiny little nitpicks that don't actually take away from the overall experience of a great game, hey Insomniac, when the fuck do I get to use Spider-Gwen's costume? I said in my Saints Row 2 video that that's the game that I play when I want to be in an open world and don't want to be Spider-Man. This is the game I play all other times. Fun fact, I actually 100% completed this game before it even came out. My wife actually used to work at a video store, and she would often get movies and watch them before the release date so that she would have an opinion of them before they came out for the customers. She would also occasionally be able to do that for video games, and she was able to do that for Spider-Man. So I needed to beat it before it was supposed to hit the shelves on Monday. So not only did I beat the entire game in one weekend, I 100% completed it. I didn't have time to breathe. I was too busy. Although, to be fair, I would probably do that even if I wasn't on a forced time limit, because every time I pick up this game, I can't put it down. I mean, what do you expect? Spider-Man is my second favorite superhero. Guess who the first one is? Seriously, Insomniac, give me the fucking costume! Here's a little bit of Kenzie lore for you. Final Fantasy X was the very first Final Fantasy I ever played. And I often hear that your very first Final Fantasy always inevitably ends up being your favorite. Those people are wrong. So instead of telling you how great this game is, I've decided to onboard you the exact same way I did. Because you see, I was watching my two best friends play this video game co-op. Side note, we need more co-op JRPGs. There, I said it. Okay, so friend A was controlling Freya the Dragoon and Zidane, yes, that's how I pronounce it, the Thief. And then friend B was playing Dagger, the White Mage, and Vivi, the Black Mage. They were fighting the final boss, and they were having a difficult time, and the White Mage was down, so they needed to heal it. So friend B was telling friend A that he needed to use a Phoenix Down on Dagger, otherwise they were going to lose. What friend A decided to do instead was take Freya and have her jump. Friend B was on. Do you have something you'd like to contribute, Mona? No? Okay. Friend B started freaking out that they were about to lose because friend A made such a stupid decision. That's when the boss did a super awesome mega wow splam attack and wiped out the entire party. At which point Freya came down from her jump and killed him. And they won the game. I'm pretty sure friend B is still having a conniption fit about that to this day. It is hilarious, and I treasure this moment greatly. And that is why Final Fantasy IX is the best game ever. There's no subjectivity here. What are you talking about? You may or may not have noticed a pattern of the games on this list. Yes, all of them are good in their own respect, good gameplay, good story, etc., but most of them are on this list because I have a specific memory associated with them. And that is very much still the case for the next entry. Halo 2 is a good game. I don't think anyone would deny that. It has good gameplay, it has a good story, blah, 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 but that's not why it's there. And that's not what I'm going to talk about. So I had this friend in high school who I would very frequently hang out with. And we would go on walks. We lived in a very small town, so we would go on walks all the time and just talk about everything. Stupid shit, important shit, emotional shit, everything. Very often, this friend would get grounded. And so he couldn't go out. So what we would do is we would get on Xbox Live and we would boot up Halo 2, and then we would go on walks in Halo 2. We wouldn't fight. We wouldn't, like, try and beat each other. We genuinely, like, we would just load up a map, decide what we wanted. Zanzibar was our favorite. And we would just go on walks and continue to talk. And it was really nice. In around 2015, 2014, somewhere around there, he and I kind of drifted apart, which sucks. But I still think about him every time I think about Halo 2, and every time I think about Halo 2, I think about him. And then October of last year, he only took his own life. And I still have difficulty loading up Halo 2 and going on a walk. Because I really want to. I'm sorry. Cody, entry number, what number are we at? Yeah, entry number 9. Cody, this one's for you. Speaking of playing games with friends, I have had a dream for the longest time. It was difficult to pull off when I was a kid, and now that I'm an adult and all of my friends have their own lives and children and whatnot, this dream is almost certainly unable to become a reality. But something I've always wanted to do is play through an entirety of one of my favorite games in 4-player co-op all the way through. And specifically, I want to play Okay, so the people might have a point when it comes to your first is always your favorite. They just didn't know they were talking about the Tales games. I'll never make a video talking about all of the best combat systems in video games, because it would basically just be me saying that it feels satisfying over and over and over again and trying desperately to only make the one dick joke. But if I did, Tales of Symphonia would be near the top for me. I can think of very few RPGs I've ever played where I would go out of my way to go do the combat because it's that much fun. You know how really good RPGs make vibrant worlds for you to explore? Tales of Symphonia did that twice. I really want to sing this game's praises, but I'm too busy trying to come up with a way of kidnapping 3 of my friends and forcing them to play a 60-hour-long game and still have them have access to their hands so they'll still be able to play. So for now, I'm just going to move on to the next one. The idea of getting 3 of my friends together to consistently play a game with me is obviously a crazy idea. Just like it was a crazy idea to have a game where Final Fantasy characters were fighting alongside Donald and Goofy. I'm running out of segues. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really trying, I promise. It actually is kind of difficult to think back to a time in which the very concept of Kingdom Hearts, you know, Final Fantasy and Disney coming together felt like a crazy idea. It's kind of like the first time you discover dipping barbecue chips into peanut butter and realizing they were made for each other. I found that combination before the hormones. I can't even blame the estrogen for my weird-ass tastes. Many people will tell you that 2 is the best in the series, and while I do love and respect those people are misguided. Regrettably, the series really did peak at the very beginning. Other games in the series make you feel like you're playing through the Disney movie. Kingdom Hearts 1, meanwhile, makes you feel like you're playing in the Disney world, and there is a very big difference. It also stars one of my favorite fictional characters of all time. Go watch my Riku depression video to find out more. Speaking of depression... Talk about a game coming out at the exact right time and place. The World Ends With You was hugely formative for me. I was a shitty 15-year-old, redundant, I know, who shut out the world and had a general disdain for everyone and everything around me. I played this game and it helped sow the seeds of me becoming an actually okay human being who actually valued the relationships in my life. What a novel concept. Now, I'm not saying I played this game and suddenly I did a personality 180, but I will say that playing this game did kind of help me break out of my shell a little bit. Possibly in more ways than one, I was a bigger fan of Shiki than I think I wanted to admit. It has one of my favorite art styles of any game, it has really fun combat once you get the hang of it, and it has the best soundtrack of any video game. I will not be taking criticism at this time. I also won't be taking criticism for the next few entries on this list, or for the format of this video, because technically, entry number 5 is the tie. Super Smash Bros. Melee has been at the tippy top of my favorite games list since it came out. I cannot tell you the hours upon hours I spent playing this game with my friends. I do not like fighting games, Sam I am, but Super Smash Bros. Is an exception, especially Melee. It's easy to pick up and learn, and you don't have to have a fucking doctorate just to know how to play a single goddamn character. But then of course, there's Ultimate, which has all of the features of all of the Smash Bros. Games before this. So it is objectively the better game because it has Melee and so much more. But subjectively? Look, it's not Ultimate's fault, but I didn't play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for hundreds of hours with my friends growing up. Melee is just one of those games that is impossible for me to take my rose-colored nostalgia glasses off for. So the advantage goes slightly to Melee, with Ultimate in the background doing a passive-aggressive clap, pissed off that Melee chose Kirby. I know I'm going to get a lot of fighting game fans who are pissed that I keep calling Smash a fighting game. A lot of fighting game players think of Smash more as a party game. But you have to admit, fighting game players, Smash is a very good entryway in order to get people into the genre. Kind of like this next game. My segues are getting better, I feel. My wife does not like turn-based RPGs. My wife sat next to me while I played through all of Persona 5. She then did that again while I played through all of Persona 5 Royal. And she is not the only one. I have heard so many accounts of P5 being the game that made people see the appeal of turn-based RPGs, and people who wouldn't normally play this style of game being willing to kill for this one. You ever start playing something and then you blink and suddenly the sun is setting and you realize you haven't eaten or fed your cat all day? That's Persona 5 for me. Speaking of which, this game also inspired the name of my cat.
Hi, Monya. Bye, sweet bye-bye.
Unlike with Smash, where I couldn't decide whether I preferred old or new, which is just old plus, I vastly prefer Royal over Persona 5 Vanilla. It fixed a lot of the problems with the game, and it added a really addictive card game you could play at any time, and it made one of my least favorite characters in the original game, Best Boy. Congratulations. Akechi, call me. So yes, Persona 5 is definitely the best Persona game. It is not, however, my favorite Persona game. I have this theory that if you like Persona 4 more than Persona 5, it's because you grew up in a town that is very similar to Inaba. Practically nothing to do, a big chain that comes in and completely demolishes your economy, repressed homosexual urges, an ominous portal in your TV that leads to a shadow world in which demons from hell try to kill you with your own insecurities. You know, basic small town stuff. However, we have a similar problem here that we did with Super Smash Bros. Because I don't know what game is in this spot. Golden definitely plays better than vanilla. It has a customizable difficulty setting, which I feel more games should have, and you have the option to choose what abilities your personas will learn when you fuse them. But it also adds a lot of story beats that I don't think help improve the experience. I don't need the concert, I don't need the ski trip. If anything, it just kind of detracts from the small town vibes that I'm being drawn to. The game is already long enough. The more we can tighten, the better. I know that I kind of have the exact opposite opinion of Persona 4 that I do with Persona 5, but Persona 4 has just a much different vibe from Persona 5, and I'm not sure any of the stuff that's actually added into Golden is required, unlike it is in Royal. So for right now, I'm just going to say vanilla Persona 4, but catch me on a different day and I'll probably switch it to Golden. And if you find me on a different day than that, you might find spots 2 and 1 swapped. But you're catching me today, so my second favorite game of all time is... I don't throw this word around very often, but Mass Effect 2 is a perfect video game. Fun gameplay that is leaps and bounds better than its first one. Oh my god, is it better than its first one. A cast of characters that's as lovable as they are flawed, and Martin goddamn Sheen. Yes, that is his legal name. Again, do not look it up. This game almost feels too good. It raised my expectations for what games should be. And now going to other video games, it kind of feels like I'm putting on a ugly, itchy Christmas sweater, and I'd like to go back to the velvet robe, please. That being said, Perfect's kind of boring, don't you think? My number one favorite video game of all time is Dragon Age Origins. Is it the prettiest? No. Does it have the best combat ever? Does it have the best story ever? No. It's literally about a person in a generic fantasy world who goes and slays an evil dragon. So, why? Why is it my favorite video game of all time? See, this is where we run into a bit of an issue. Because I do have an answer to that question. I do have an answer to why is this my favorite video game of all time. The problem is, it would take me several hours to convey that. And quite frankly, my video upload schedule is shitty enough as it is. Suffice it to say, I love the world of Thedas. I wouldn't own all of this shit if I didn't. It also has a cast of characters which I absolutely adore. But so what? I've said that for about half the entries on this list. What makes this game so special? I explain in my video on why I dislike side quests that I like to inhabit the world. I like to make characters who make the decisions that I would in that given circumstance. And Dragon Age Origins just kind of scratches the itch there that I'm looking for. So maybe at the end of the day, I want to be able to just walk through a world I enjoy with friends that I love by my side and be able to go forth and slay a clearly defined evil. Okay, so I am dangerously close to writing out that hours-long video talking about Dragon Age Origins, which will then lead me into an even more hours-long series talking about the entire Dragon Age franchise, so I'm going to go ahead and cut myself off here. You're welcome. And those are my top 20 favorite video games. Once again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for helping me get to 1,000 subscribers. I actually already have my 10,000 subscriber special planned out, but it is a lot more involved than just this one, and I have actually been laying the groundwork for being able to do it for a while now. And I made a promise at the beginning of this video, didn't I? Well, I'm actually working on 2 videos at the moment. The first one is a review of Mega Man Battle Network, and the other one is the first in a series that I call The Long Way Around, in which I talk about every single episode of Doctor Who going back to the 1963 version. So yes, for the Mega Man video, all of the game footage has already been captured, and the script is mostly written. I'm kind of having a similar problem with it that I did with Rogue Galaxy, and that like I'm writing out most of the script and then I hate it, so I have to scrap the whole thing and I have to restart. I'm trying not to scrap the whole thing, but I am having difficulty finding my voice with that. Anyway, it's not important. Behind the scenes, who cares? But hey, I've kept you long enough. If you enjoyed the video, then you should like it. If you thought that my choices were stupid, then you should comment down below and tell me why. And if you want to see me get to 10,000 subscribers, you should subscribe or share it. Thank you once again for making this possible. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. All right, that's it. Mwah! Goodbye! I can already see the comments now. Like half of them are going to be talking about how Baldur's Gate 3 is better than Dragon Age Origins in every single way. I'm not going to argue with those comments or like block them or anything. But I do hope that anyone who makes that type of comment knows that I'm silently judging them from my screen.